We're going to read The Making of a Baseball Bat. And because of the title and the subtitles, this is informational, I can tell. So as I read, I'm going to be thinking about summarizing it in my head. And if I see underlined words, I'm going to pay attention to those words as well. For baseball fans, there's nothing quite like the crack of a wood baseball bat when it makes contact with the baseball. Although many schools and leagues use metal bats, players in the major leagues have always been required to use wood bats. These bats are made for each player, often with specific features requested by the players themselves. Okay? The birth of a legend. I'm going to change this into a question. If I answer my question, I will be summarizing this section here. How or when was this legend born? Okay, I'm writing in the computer, it's just kind of hard. When was this legend born? Okay. One of the most famous baseball bat makers is Hilrich and Bradsby Company. This is, remember, informational, so I'm going to highlight my information. The idea for the company's famous baseball bat, the Louisville, I'm not so sure how to pronounce that. I'm going to do my best. Louisville Slugger was born in 1884 when John Bud Hilrich took a break from working at his father's woodworking shop in Louisville, Kentucky, to watch a local baseball game. So, Bud, I'm just going to highlight his nickname. One of the players, Pete Browning, I'm going to use another color, Pete. He was a baseball player. Was so frustrated when he couldn't hit the ball that he broke his bat. And Bud was watching. Here, Rick offered to make Browning a new bat. I guess he did like his playing. The two went to the woodworking shop where Browning told Hilrich exactly what kind of bat he wanted. So, who designed it? The baseball player. After Browning got 3 hits the first day he used his new bat, other baseball players began asking Hilrich to make bats for them too. I'm going to use my green. So he hit 3 hits, and then all the players began asking him to create bats. Okay? So he was getting famous. There was just one problem. Hilrich's father was not interested in making bats. Okay, Harry's father. He said, no, no, no. At first, he refused to make bats for baseball players, preferring to continue making products such as stair rails, butter churns, so things that he could sell, I guess. Ulrich finally convinced his father that making bats would be good for the shop, and a new business was born. So he finally convinced him, but Dad didn't want to at the beginning. So when was this legend born? It was born when Bud, who was working at his father's um, wood, how is it called? The woodworking shop. He attended a baseball game. He saw this player, Pete Browning, breaking his bat out of frustration, and then he approached him and he offered him to make a bat for him because he knew how to handle wood. Browning did told Bud exactly how he wanted the bat um, to be made, like specific features, and he did it, and he used it, and he hit 3 home runs in a row. Well, got 3 hits, it says there. And then the other players also wanted to bat. His father said no, but then he convinced them. And as you can see, I summarized it in my head. A standard slugger. Do you know what the word slugger means? Okay. It's someone that it means to hit. I'm going to change that into a question, and I'm going to write down is what is a standard slugger? That's a question mark right there. Okay. Since 1884, more than 100 million Louisville Slugger bats have been made. So it's a standard bat, the standard Slugger. It's a bat. Here you go. The bats have remained popular with Major League Baseball players for more than 100 years. So they're good, I guess. In 1905, Honus Wagner, one of baseball's best hitters at the time, became the first professional athlete associated with a sports product. He signed a contract that allowed his signature to appear. Oh, he signed them to appear on Louisville Slugger bats. So he was the first one to sponsor a product. Wow. Um, once other baseball players saw how the Louisville Slugger affected Wagner's hitting, they too began using and promoting the bats. So I'm going to put a star. This is how. Okay. Professional baseball became very popular in the United States during the 1920s. Louisville Slugger bats were favored, that means they liked them, by the game's biggest stars. Baseball legends such as Babe Ruth, have you ever heard of him? Ted Williams went to the factory where Louisville Sluggers were made and talked with the workers. The talented workers then crafted the bats according to each player's description. This is like no production, like serious production. They were designed by hand according to the players' requirements. The players knew exactly how they wanted their bats designed. Williams once complained that the handles on his bats didn't feel right. Williams is the baseball player. When workers measured the bats, they found out that he was correct. The handles were too narrow by 5/1000th of an inch. This is like millimetric, okay? And then you have Ted Williams inspects a baseball bat, and because he tried it out, he could see if they were okay. He didn't need to measure it. He just knew because he felt it and it didn't feel right. How amazing is that? Number 7. Professional athletes have grown accustomed to using the same equipment. They're going to ask me for this word. They have grown accustomed to using the same equipment in games and in practice. They know that even a slight change in the proportions of a baseball bat can hurt a player's performance in a game. So it's accustomed sounds like used to. They're used to it. Okay? I'm going to put a line in there. I can even replace the word. They have used to, yeah, they've been used to use the same equipment. Okay. They know that even a slight change in the proportions of a baseball bat can hurt a player's performance in a game. Professional baseball players spend much time and effort to ensure they are using equipment that is the right size. Okay. Another section, all and new. How? What is old? What is new? Will they be comparing and contrasting the old and new bats? Let's see. In the early days of baseball, bats varied in size and shape. I'm going to underline that. I'm going to use my red. So, they were made with any kind of wood that was available. Most of today's bats are made from two kinds of wood, maple and ash. So, yes, they are comparing and contrasting. Before, any kind of wood was good. Today, only maple and ash. Maple is harder than ash, so a bat made from maple can strike the ball with more force than a bat made from ash. Ash is lighter than maple, so a bat made from ash can be swung faster. The shape of today's baseball bat is also made more regular, narrow at the handle and wide at the end. Okay, maybe before they were not that strict about it, but okay, so all the new, they are comparing how they were before. and how they are nowadays. Number 9, although the basic design of today's professional bat is similar, it is up to each player to find the bat that works best. Several factors are important for a player to consider. Bats come in different lengths and weights. So they get to choose. The barrel diameter or the distance around the top to the bat also varies. And then there are the different types of wood to choose from. The best way for baseball players to find the bat that will most enhance their game is to try several bats and see which one feels right. Baseball bats have changed a great deal over the years. Players now have more choices when selecting a bat, which is actually the same as the idea as a paragraph before. But one thing remains constant, the opportunity for players to perform at their best thanks to the great designs offered by Hellrick and Bradsby Company and its Louisville Slugger. This is the name of the bat. And then they give you a photo. And don't skip it. It says early baseball bats left and a modern bat right. They are similar, but they have been improved, I guess. Okay, let's go to the questions. It says, the reader can conclude that when Henrik first asked his father to make wood bats, his father said no. Because he said, no, I think that he was like, I'd rather keep selling what I'm selling right now than selling bats that I don't know anyone will purchase. Okay, now that I have an idea, I can read my choices and see. Plan to change his business by making only wood bats. No. This is the keyword. At first. What did that say at first? He didn't say, yes, let's do it, go for it. No. B. Believe metal bats will sell better than wood bats? No. C. Wanted to sell his company rather than make wood bats? No, he didn't say that. Remember, he said no. And D. Thought his company will not benefit from making wood bats. That's why he said no. He was like, I'd rather keep selling what I'm selling right now because it sells very well. I don't want to make bats because I don't think they're going to be a good product to sell. So that's why he said no. At first, he said no. Why? Because we're not going to be selling bats. It's not a good product to be sold. So there you go. That's my correct answer. If you want to check, this is always good. If you cannot just leave it to memory. Where is it that he said no? Okay, where is it? That said no. That said no. Where? I need to go back. Here we go. Paragraph 3. Let me move it a little bit. Let me make it a little bit bigger. My goodness, it's all crooked. There was just one problem. Henrik's father was not interested in making bats. At first, he refused to make bats for baseball players, preferring to continue making products such as stair rails and butter churns. Okay, so he was, no, I'm going to keep selling what I'm selling because they are selling very well. Exactly. So that's my evidence. It's in paragraph 3. Okay. 34. In paragraph 6, the details about Ted Williams' experience with Louisville Slugger bats support the idea that, first of all, I'm not going to read the answers just yet. First of all, I need to look at paragraph 6. My paragraph 6 is right there. And this is my question. So paragraph 6 is right there. I'm sorry, there's a little bit crooked. Here we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, here we go. It says Ted Williams' experience with the bat. Ted Williams' experience with the bat. I'm going to read paragraph 6 again. Okay, paragraph 6. Professional baseball became very popular in the United States during the 1920s. Louisville Slugger bats were favored by the game's biggest stars. Baseball legends such as Babe Ruth and Ted Williams, here we go, Ted Williams, went to the factory where Louisville sluggers were made and talked with the workers. The talented workers then handcrafted the bats according to each player's description. The players knew exactly how they wanted. I need to keep reading because the paragraph is not over, okay? It's right here. So they here we go. The players knew exactly how they wanted their bats designed. Williams once complained, oh, this is the Williams experience, if you can see here. Williams once complained that the handles on his bats didn't feel right. And that's a photo of Williams. When workers measured the bats, they found out that he was correct. The handles were too narrow, but it was by a millimetric measurement. So he didn't need a measurement. He just felt that it was not right. Now that I read it and I have a better idea. Okay, let's see. Professional athletes can notice a slight difference in equipment. Yes, that is what it means. He held the bat, touched the handle. I was like, this is not right. But it was something millimetric, but he still could sense it. Let's see the other one. Louisville Sluggers are not the best bats available. Well, that is not okay. I mean, it's no. That's a no. It has nothing to do with Ted Williams' experience. We're talking about Ted Williams' experience with the bats. Negative comments about a product can harm a company's business. That's nothing to do with it. That's true, although it has nothing to do with paragraph 6 and Ted Williams' experience. J. Louisville Sluggers are better designed today than they were when they were first made. Maybe that's right, but the thing is that that's not paragraph 6. Paragraph 6 is not talking about that. His experience, Ted Williams' experience with the bat, was that he can actually sense the slightest difference in a bat. So because he was sensing it, he was a professional. So this is my correct answer, without a doubt. 35. Which sentence best states the main idea of the section titled Old and New? I remember, but still, this is not a memory test. We're going to look for it. Old and New is right there. Can you see? So Old and New is talking about comparing and contrasting the bats before, bats nowadays. Before they were made out of any kind of wood. Now it's just maple and ash. Today they are narrow at the handle, wide at the end. Now they have different lengths, different weights, and that's it, right? Okay, so comparing and contrasting all the new. Now I'm going to see my choices right here. Which sentence best states the main idea of the section titled All Anew? Remember, I told you that if you answer the question, you'll be summarizing it. So we already discussed that. A. They were made with any kind of wood. Is that the main idea? Just about the wood? What about the weight and the length and the size? And no, right? So no. The shape of today's baseball bats is more regular, narrow at the handle and wide at the end. Is that about it? What about that before they used all different kinds of wood and now it's just two kinds of wood? So no. Bats come in different lengths and weights. Okay. Again, that's just one part of it. Baseball bats have changed a great deal over the years. Have they changed a great deal over the years? Okay, let's review. They were made with any kind of wood that was available. No, because that was just the old ones. The shape of today's baseball bats is more regular. That is just today. Bats come in different lengths and weights. That is just today. And baseball bats have changed a great deal over the years. This is all bats and today's bats. So I think that's the correct answer. Okay, question 36. What is the meaning of the word accustomed? Alrighty, let me move this to a side. A custom, paragraph 7. Ooh, I did write something. Used to, remember? Professional athletes have grown accustomed to using the same equipment. So, professional, I'm going to write down they they have grown. I'm trying to copy the sentence. Accustomed to use the same equipment. And we're going to plug it in, okay? They have grown managed by use the same equipment. No. They have grown different from using the same equipment. No. They have grown changed to use the same equipment. They have grown in the habit of using the same equipment. It's a habit, something you do every day. That's my correct answer. Accustomed means used to is something that you do every day in the habit of using the same equipment. 37. The reader can infer that one of the main reasons the production of Louisville Sluggers began was because of Hilrich's. Hilrich, who is that? Was that the owner or the baseball player that broke the bat? I can't remember. I'm going to go back. Hilrich. Hilrich. Let me look for it. Hilrich. Where is Hilrich? Oh, Hilrich is the baseball owner. The baseball owner. The the son. Hilrich. Here we go. I'm gonna underline it with black. It's right here. Hilrich. It's the boy who was working with his father who attended the baseball game and who offered Pete Browning to create a baseball bat for him. Okay, here we go. And then the rest of history. He was really successful. So the reader can infer that one of the main reasons the production of Louisville Sluggers began was because how did it begin? His willingness to use his knowledge of woodworking to help someone. Yes, he was helping someone. Okay, he was using his knowledge of his woodwork to help someone, the baseball player. Let's see letter B. Understanding of the game of baseball? Not necessarily. You can understand the baseball game, but not necessarily know a lot about baseball bats. C. Ability to promote a product. He didn't have a product to promote at the time, at the beginning. That's super wrong. D. Experience playing baseball with a metal bat. We have no idea if that even happened, and I don't think that was the reason why. The reason why is because he offered. He offered to help. He offered to help. Here we go. So my correct answer, it is the first one. He was willing to help someone. He saw this frustrated baseball player breaking his bat out of frustration. So he approached him and he said, "Hey, you know what? I can help you. Would you like me to help you?" 38. Based on the information in the selection, what is one similarity between Pete Browning, he is the baseball player, and Onus Wagner, the baseball player? He was the first one, and he was the one that made it popular because Hannes Wagner was a pretty popular baseball player. Popular. And Pete Browning also made it popular. So their success encouraged other players to use bats. Yes. They both ordered a wood bat that was not made correctly. Dun, 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 dun. That was the distractor. Okay, if you just read the first part, you're going to say, oh, yes, that's true. But check all the sentence. H. Their friendship with Hilrich helped improve their batting skills. The friendship? Not at all. They both persuaded Hilrich's father to make this. No, because by the time that Onus Wagner was using the bats, they were already producing them. So, no. The correct answer. This it was super easy. So their success encouraged other players to use the bats, both of them. And if you want proof, we can go back. When it says it's paragraph 6, 5, Honus Wagner. Okay. It says once other baseball players saw how the bat affected his hitting, which was in a good way, they began to use it and promoting it as well. And for the other baseball player, Pete, it says right here when he got his first 3 hits, the day he used his new bat, other baseball players began asking to make them bats. So this is my evidence for my last question.